Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Monday, November 21st, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin with AEW news. Full Gear, presented last Saturday night at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, brought in a live gate of $1,040,000, making it the fourth AEW pay-per-view in a row to surpass $1 million gate, according to Figure 4 Online. The show was a near sellout with only 626 tickets remaining out of a 12,474-seat setup, according to a WrestleTix report released an hour before the show. The reported buy rate for the pay-per-view was 140,000, which fell short of last year's 155,000 buys for Full Gear, but exceeded the early estimate projections for this year's event. It was consistent with AEW's last pay-per-view All Out back in September. The company's next pay-per-view event, Revolution, will be coming to the Chase Center in San Francisco on March 5th, according to an announcement made Saturday night at the post-Full Gear press conference. This will be the first time an AEW pay-per-view has been presented in California. The previous Revolution show took place in Orlando, Florida, and was headlined by Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World title against Adam Cole. Looking at ticket sales from last week, competition was close in terms of the TV shows, but WWE Monday Night Raw came out on top with 6,902 tickets distributed to the show at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. WWE SmackDown Friday night at the XL Center in Hartford came the closest to Raw's number with 6,123 tickets distributed, while AEW Rampage live from the Prudential Center drew 6,065 fans the night before Full Gear in the same building. AEW Dynamite trailed far behind with only 3,141 tickets distributed to the Total Mortgage Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut for last Wednesday's show. In independent wrestling news, Kenta will make his House of Glory debut at the December 17th Revelations event at LA Boom in Queens, New York, according to a company announcement. He'll face Low Ki in what is being advertised as a rematch from their 2005 match in which Kenta defended the Pro Wrestling Noah GHC Junior Heavyweight title against Low Ki as part of Ring of Honor's Final Battle pay-per-view. This would be Kenta's first match in the United States since February 2021 and his first match in New York since September of 2019. Both Chris Hamrick and Game Changer Wrestling issued an apology to fans after the longtime independent wrestler used a homophobic slur at the company's show at the Fett Music Hall in Providence, Rhode Island yesterday. Hamrick used the slur when trying to antagonize fans during a six-person scramble match, which also included Jimmy Lloyd, Marcus Mathers, Manders, Dustin Waller, and eventual winner Shane Mercer. The 56-year-old veteran would apologize publicly via his Twitter account Sunday, stating, quote, "I want to apologize to everyone for the language I used at the GCW show tonight. For years I used this language in character and it became a habit. Regardless, there is no excuse because I know these words are offensive and I should know better. Sorry to anyone I offended," unquote. GCW would also apologize to fans on Twitter and stated that the company and Hamrick agreed to donate Hamrick's $500 pay to the Youth Pride Rhode Island, which serves the LGBTQ community, and GCW matched the contribution. In major results from the show, the main event saw Jonathan Gresham defeat Speedball Mike Bailey, Masha Slamovich beat Maki Ito, Charles Mason defeated Alley Catch by referee stoppage, and after winning a four-way against Dylan McKay, Ninja Mac, and Leon Slater, Tony Deppen challenged GCW World Champion Nick Gage for their December 16th show in Los Angeles. And finally, some sad news to report. Veteran wrestling photographer Bob Mulrennan passed away on Saturday after a 7-month battle with cancer, as was first reported by Mike Johnson of PW Insider. Mulrennan began shooting ringside at WWF TV tapings in Allentown, Pennsylvania as a teenager in the late 1970s, and continued shooting for decades at conventions and live events for independents as well as companies like WWE, Impact Wrestling, and AEW. Mulrennan had been working for years shooting for Ringside Collectibles and also Paul Heyman's Heyman Hustle website. He was 57 years old. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, Just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News Podcast, and remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.